What would make this an especially useful conversation for you today?
So I really want to know how to tighten up the time, the practice time. I haven't had the chance to work on the timings as much as I've worked on the question types and the different type of sections.
Sure. Okay. So timing on all sections.
Mm-hmm.
And how many practice tests or how many sections have you done up to this point?
I have taken 10 actual official LSAT prep tests and the 2 other from the 2019 and 2020 that I got from Amazon, and I've tried some of their prep test books. That's about it. And I also have the resources from Kaplan. I took the Kaplan courses as well.
Great. Fantastic. So it sounds like you've got plenty of materials and you've had a good general overview of what the exam looks like.
Yep.
Great. So yeah,
I got the answer types. I got the answers. My, reading comprehension is a hit or miss, but I still will score like around 18 to 22 out of the 27, 28 questions. But the logic games, I'm a little bit slow. Sometimes I get all of them correct. Like sometimes I'll get like 5 out of 7. But that's taking my own time. That's not on the time, like 35 minutes, So that's a little nervous for me. I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah, understood. So yeah, after accuracy, the next thing you want to focus on is pacing. And since you mentioned games, I'll start there. I would suggest that you do the questions within a game in an order that works for you, meaning not just 1 through 5 or 6 through 11 or whatever. Instead, you do the orientation question, then all the local if questions, then finally the global questions, so that you build up a base or library of hypotheticals that you can use to help you solve the global questions more efficiently.
Got it.
And for reading comprehension, I would also suggest you do things a little bit out of order, but in this case, you do the general questions first, because if nothing else, you should walk away from the passage with what the main idea is. You knock those out. Then you do the line reference questions, or what used to be line reference and is now just a highlighted phrase. You jump to those, and then you do the toughest, more inferential questions last. So you're building your understanding once again as you go.
Is there like an easy way to understand the reading comprehension where, I see like the evidence and, conclusion, I am able to like pinpoint those, but there's like so much information dump that I get confused sometimes with my question, like correct answer. And I feel like it's very tricky. So is there like something where I can pinpoint that to like the correct answer?
Well, I would suggest that you know where the details are so you can go back for them when you need them, but I wouldn't obsess over them during your initial read because they aren't relevant to the majority of questions. So you just simply want to know where are they so you can find them and go back when you need to.
Okay.
But it's complex. I mean, there's no way to just quote unquote, like make it easy right off the bat. In general, on reading comp, there are ways you can dumb it down or oversimplify it. I'll often think of things as old versus new, or good versus bad, or incomplete versus relatively more complete, things like that, as if I were trying to explain it to a kid.
Okay. So generally, should we opt for one of the, the toughest kind of answer types, or should we go for more of the basic ones?
In reading comp, I would say do the more basic, easy questions first.
Okay.
Then save the tougher ones for last. Like there are some reading comp questions that are similar to logical reasoning, like parallel or weaken, and those are undoubtedly going to be the toughest. They require more layers of understanding. They're more hoops you have to jump through. So I would save those for last, only after you knock out the easier stuff.
Okay. Sounds very good. That's a good idea.
Sure. And then logical reasoning, you have questions on timing there?
Yes. Logical reasoning I'm able to do it in time. It's just the reading comprehension and the logical games is where I'm lacking a little bit with time.
Okay. You sound like you had another question. What else you got for me?
I was going to ask you, like, if you have any other tips since, I'm trying to take the November test. So anything that I should do, like in, the next 10 days before the exam?
Yeah, sure. What does your plan right now look like?
I'm trying to focus at least 2 to 3 hours or 3 to 5 hours a day on just taking tests and kind of doing like revisions where I'm not like 100%.
And how many exams are you planning to take?
Oh, I can take, I guess, 1 a day.
All right. So All right.
I
So
was taking a lot more, but I'm kind of slowing down now because it's just overwhelming me.
yeah, no, that runs the risk of burnout. So I think that's honestly a terrible idea. I'll be honest with you. Don't do one a day. That leads to burnout. Certainly don't do more than one a day because that'll really burn you out. This is
Yeah.
not a test of memorization. You can't cram it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really do one exam a day and review it in sufficient depth anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe do 2 exams per week for the next
Okay.
2 weeks. That would be more than enough along with detailed review of those exams. Now, where are you scoring right now?
Around 159 to anywhere 170. So it's like I said, it's hit or miss with reading comprehension, and that kind of brings my score up or down. So my diagnostic test for the first one was 151, and then I just started taking my mid test. I still have to take my final test through Kaplan.
Okay, so you've improved a good amount, which is great.
Yeah.
I would suggest that you really look at the reading comp that you're having trouble with. Instead of just doing
Yes.
more and more exams and more sections to see where you stand, slow down and look at the passages you're having trouble with. Dissect them, paraphrase them for yourself to the point where something really difficult actually is understandable and you could explain to somebody else.
Okay.
2 exams a
I
week.
just don't have a study partner. I wish I had somebody to study with, somebody that's actually studying for LSAT, so that would be a little bit more helpful. But I haven't been able to find anybody that I can study with.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I've actually established a Facebook group for students using my resources,
Right.
and you might find a study partner there. Others have, and just you could get on Skype with them and just talk through the problems.
Okay. I'll try that for sure.
But definitely fewer questions reviewed in more depth. That's the way to go. Otherwise, you'll just keep making the same mistakes.
Right.
And
What
if
would
you're
you
scoring,
say?
go
Mhm.
ahead, please.
What would you say about the essay part of the LSAT?
I wouldn't worry too much about it, and that's something you could say for a later date. In fact, because it's not on the day of.
But that will go to the law schools, correct? And they will look that as maybe like, consideration for law school admission.
It could basically, if you do terribly on it, that could hurt you, but it's
Right.
not going to get you into law school if your numbers aren't what you want them to be.
Okay, I see.
But you
So
have up
it's
to
fine.
1 year to complete it after the exam. So for now, I'd focus on what's scored and what matters. Down the line, you can look into the writing sample and what's involved there. But I did want to share something with you about the reading comprehension. I was thinking that if you're scoring in the 160s, let's say on average, that means you're getting around maybe 15 questions wrong, let's say. Maybe more some days, less other days, but 15 wrong on average. But there's another 10 to 15 questions that you're guessing on and getting lucky, or that you're not 100% sure on. So that's giving you 25 or 30 questions per exam that you should be reviewing for every single exam that you do. And that could take 3 hours or more.
Right.
So focus your time there. The benefit of doing these exams is to get questions wrong or have difficulty with questions so that you can analyze them and review them. And if no one in your personal life wants to hear about the LSAT, I certainly understand it. That's part of why I make all my videos. It's like an outlet for me. But find some study partners who you can talk through these with a little bit, or even get a tutor. They don't have to be like the best tutor in the world, but just someone who can talk through the problems with you a bit and give you a space to do that.
Okay, sounds good. I think I do have somebody in mind that I can call.
Good. Yeah, just for like handpick like the toughest passages you come across and go through them line by line, paragraph by paragraph, and then also look at the answer choices that you're picking. What's tempting about them? What makes them wrong? What's discouraging about the correct answer? And what's pushing you away from it? Because there are patterns in this. And if you take the time to slow down and dissect those patterns, you won't make the same mistake again.
Right, that's what I've been seeing a lot. Even though I go back and review what I've done wrong, but it hasn't been, it hasn't seemed to work for me. Like I do the same mistake over and over again.
Then you haven't fully gotten it yet, and you've got to look in even more depth or talk it over more or spend more time on it so it really sinks in.
Okay, I'll try doing that.
Sure. Now, so you got about 2 weeks, 2 exams per week, detailed review. Also make sure that these are 5 sections, not 4, right?
Right. So one's going to be like whatever they decide to throw it in there.
It could be anything, could be games, could be reasoning, could be reading comp. And so also I'd suggest practice your worst nightmare, whatever it is. If it's 2 games back to back or 2 reading comps back to back, just do it now so you won't have to do it for the first time on test day.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, just lay these out for yourself and make a plan. If you've got about 2 weeks, what's like, let's say you're doing your next exam, maybe you're doing one tomorrow and then one Saturday and then one the following Wednesday, then one the following Saturday, and reviewing on the days in between, taking a day off here and there. And that's your plan. You don't really need to do more than that other than doing some review and talking through these reading comp passages with someone.
Okay. That's a good idea. I'm going to work on that for sure.
Great. What else? What else do you have for me?
That's all. That's all I have.
All right, Neha, it was a pleasure connecting with you. What would you say is the biggest insight you got from our call today?
I got tips on how to what to work on the next 2 weeks before my exam. And just I guess there's somebody that I can rely on if I have, some questions.
Perfect. Great. Well, please keep in touch and let me know if you need anything as you move forward. And of course, let me know how it goes for you. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.